going to focus around AI, deep tech, cybersecurity, and that's our panel. Vishal, he's going to be our moderator today. We have Rohit, Neelesh, Elliot, and of course, Irshad joining in for the conversation. So let me quickly introduce Vishal and then I'll hand over the stage to Vishal so that he can do the rest of the introductions and we can go forward. Okay, so let me stop sharing the screen and I can have Vishal, you can come on screen. So I'll put you on the spotlight then, literally speaking. Okay, so Vishal is a very senior leader driving the AI and data business across the region. We are in the Gulf region with deep expertise and sharp strategic lens. Vishal has been instrumental in helping enterprises unlock the true potential of AI, data, and digital innovation, right? These are terms we hear often, practically every day, but you ask people what they mean and they'll start getting very varied answers, right? So he's helped organizations unlock the true potential. He brings a powerful mix of technical depth, commercial insight, and visionary leadership to every conversation he's part of. And few minutes of conversation will actually give you an insight into that. And of course, known for his turning ambitious ideas into real business outcomes, Vishal is shaping how organizations across the region think, build, and scale with AI. So, Vishal, with that, over to you. The stage is yours, and the whole panel is yours too. I can rest.
Thanks a lot, Hemant. And it's a pretty amazing, I can say, introduction. But having said that, yes, we do talk about AI, we do talk about security, and we do talk about deep tech today, and where the discussion will be all around to understand how the convergence happening in deep tech, emerging threats, talent and readiness of the talent and the workforce, I must say, governance and ethics and regulation, responsible AI, and then we'll conclude. But before jumping into the panel discussion, I would like to nominate another people. They can come, another teammates who can come and introduce themselves. Yeah, I will pass it over to Hemant, who would be the next one.
Sure. So let me just spotlight all our speakers. We have got Elliot. Okay, why can't I spotlight you? Yes, you are on video. Now I can spotlight you. Right, this is another thing about Zoom. Unless you switch on your video, I can't spotlight you. Right? Where are our other speakers? Rohit, Irshad, Nilesh. You
So
will have to come
Elliot,
on video.
quick introduction, please.
Yes,
Hi.
Elliot, you can begin.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Hi, good evening. Good morning. Irshad here.
Yeah. Yeah, Rohit here.
So Elliot, over to you, a quick introduction, then we'll just quickly finish with the introductions and then we'll jump into what is.
Yeah, with pleasure, ladies and gentlemen. Pleasure to be with you. Thank you to the Pitch team for hosting this event and streaming in around the world. Elliot here, head of programs at Orsia Capital. We're a $150 million fund out of Dubai, based in the UAE, investing from pre-seed to Series B with ticket sizes up to $3 million. And I'm very happy to be contributing to this panel today.
Nilesh, over to you.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Nilesh, you can introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm audible. Okay. First of all, thank you very much for such a wonderful opportunity to be present here. Pitch matters, as we say. So it is, to introduce us, I'm basically representing Techlore, and it is an amazing honor for us to get associated with Pitch Matter in this context. To introduce myself, I am taking care of sales engagements in the UAE and the GCC region. We are basically AI and cybersecurity organization, and I'm looking forward to this discussion.
Thank you, Nilesh. Irshad.
Hi, so this is Irshadh. Glad to be part of this conversations. I'm a partner with EY. Been in the cybersecurity industry for the last a couple of decades, specifically focusing on security operations center SOC, threat detection and response, and incident response, and so on and so forth. Okay.
Thank you, Irshad. Rohit, over to you.
Yeah, hi everyone. Rohit here. I'm founder of 888 VC. We are a global accelerator fund. So far, it's a 20 million fund. Typically, we do 250K to 500K checks in pre-seed to seed or seed plus startups. We are a US India fund. Mostly, we come in companies which are early growth and they need help with GTM, enterprise, building in tech, B2B, AI, deep tech. We have recently started doing, headquartered in Bangalore, and we have presence in DIFC as well. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Rohit. So I can see there's a good blend of tech and money is there in the room. And my questions will be all around that. Predominantly, let's start focusing on how you see right now, for example, the cybersecurity landscape, right? From posture to assess to journey and to the refinement. In the world of AI, how we can defend our digital assets. So, I believe, Irshad, do you want to pick this particular question and then we go into round robin fashion so everybody can put their thought forward? Over to you, Irshad.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think as with any other domain, the impact of cybersecurity, especially AI, I call it as two or three major fashion. I know one is obviously as with any other domains, you have AI is going to help cybersecurity in different areas. One of the area which I actually be part of, which is SOC, especially from a people perspective, is actually a lot of mundane tasks people do with respect to cybersecurity or a SOC. And AI is going to, especially agentic AI, is going to help a lot of a reduction in mundane tasks, but in the people will be a lot of higher value added activity. That's one space in which AI is helping. The other way to look at from other perspective of AI is especially protecting AI, which means you actually have AI is there. You need to actually help protect the cybersecurity technology to protect AI. So that's the second dimension to it. Third dimension itself is, AI itself will have a lot of hackers attacking it. So what that mean is, there's a lot of investments or technology going in how you actually protect the entire cybersecurity as well as AI itself. So those are three dimensions which especially AI is working in, especially in the cyberspace. Out of these two, if you look at a lot of investments, what you see is especially new technologies, especially for protecting AI. So a lot of newer tech. I mean, if you look at some of the basic one is, you look at ChatGPT or a lot of other technologies. Prompt injection is the one most common threats that's applicable from an AI perspective. So how do you protect these user interactions and as well as AI models from cybersecurity? That's a lot of investments is going into that in a space, which is a variety of investments, variety of technology going into that. Then there's a second important element, especially around AI and cybersecurity, is a lot of governance layer that is use of AI is quite spread across in an organization. How do you put a governance layer around it? And that area of governance and a bit of compliance is also being handled by cybersecurity. It is not done by a business function. That is actually being handled by cybersecurity teams in a lot of organizations. We typically come across, even today, actually, one of our customers are asking, can you help in this particular space? While this is technically not a cyber space, but we see a lot of our customers are asking, how can you help me in this, in the governance, in the use of AI in your organization? And then, another most important recent thing, I think the talk of the town is the mythos, especially how it is impacting, especially cybersecurity. Of course, it's still cloud had, but it's not visible. But what we know is going to be a big impact across enterprises, especially banks and a lot of governments. They're all afraid of potential weaknesses or vulnerabilities it can actually decode. And it's going to be the previous version is actually called Opus. It's again from Anthropic Cloud only. It does a lot of especially used for vulnerability assessments, application security assessments, so on and so forth. So the impact is going to be significant, as we move forward, and the models are, becoming more and more powerful, especially in AI. Different segments of cyber is actually going to impact it. And what we see is, I think Ashok, as I mentioned in the previous conversation, some of the work we typically do takes around weeks. That's actually can compressed into just a few hours. So that's the level of impact this is, going to happen. It's already happening right now, and we're already doing it some of our, in our own client-serving engagements. That's a quick
Thanks a lot,
overview.
Irshad. Yeah, it's a very, very comprehensive answer. So, Elliot, over to you. How you see that you're managing around 150 million worth of funds, 250 million worth of funds. Having said that, how you are seeing the impact of today's AI? What are the cyber threats as a, I can say, investment institution you are expecting, and how you are fighting, and what are the blind spots you are trying to cover up?
No, it's a very comprehensive and timely question. Just to clarify, we're a $150 million fund, not a $250 million fund. Worth mentioning, we are sector agnostic from pre-seed to B, but we are also recognized as the most active investor in the UAE. In 2024, we did 24 deals. In 2025, 25 deals. So whilst there is a lot of smoke and mirrors in the industry, we are doing our best to walk the walk, not just talk the talk. When it comes to cyber in particular, whilst we remain sector agnostic and opportunistic across multiple disciplines, stages, and industries, cyber is the one denominator that impacts all of our portfolio companies, all of our employees, and ourselves as well. What's worth mentioning is that regardless of the direction of technology's evolvement, back in the 90s, through to 2026, and most likely through to 2036. The most critical point of error seems to be human behavior. And with that said, I'm very curious to see how, despite the, increasingly tight cyber protocols that are being implemented across government and across portfolios, and even made more portfolio companies, and be made even more accessible and available to businesses and consumers alike. I'm curious as to how the offline piece in particular, the education around behavior pertaining to cybersecurity potential breaches from a human to human perspective, indeed remains the largest risk and potentially can be solved. So that's what I'm interested in seeing. I do think that over the past 5 years that we've been that I've been in the industry, and the past, speaking to colleagues, 13 years that we've been deploying in one form or another, the general acumen of cyber awareness, cyber protocol, cyber training has become much more prevalent, much more accessible, and much more higher level. From an investment standpoint, we, as part of our due diligence, don't just assess the market and the team and the tailwinds and regulatory compliance and so on, but we do look into code. We occasionally try to ethically hack, if you will, prospective startups or our existing portfolio to see where the potential breaches are. If there's an e-com website that can be crashed because it has 1,000 hits in a minute, that's not a good indication of a scalable, sustainable business, or at least a tech infrastructure that could scale to the demands and commands of a venture requirement. And so I'd say that while, in summary or in closing here, I'd say that whilst the accessibility and know-how of cyber security efforts have become more abundantly available to technical and non-technical founders alike, the biggest weakness still remains human behavior. And from an investment standpoint, I'm very curious as to how that is addressed by startups, and also what's to come from new solutions that are potentially also venture backable.
Thanks a lot, Elliot. And you have touched upon some really great points, and especially standout one is human behavior. So Rohit, a quick question to you, as you're actually spending on the right ticket item, right, as an investor. So is there any product or the organization in which your organization have invested, which is efficiently focused on AI securities or conversational AI or Gen AI securities? And if yes, then what was that product, and how it is covering up the blind spots?
So actually, hi. So typically we come in pre-seed, seed stage where they have just the product and they're ready to launch and they need help with GTM support, and they need guidance on cracking the enterprise, which is a larger sales cycle. We came across a company in Bangalore itself, which was basically preemptive tool to assess the vulnerability, which is very important in the cybersecurity, especially in AI. You want to assess the workflows, the integration of workflows with the cybersecurity, as to at what extent the tool or the SaaS is able to prevent those attacks. So we came across this company. It's called Shield AI. It's incubated by Bosch, and it's a corporate spin-off, and it's already solving the problem of whatever we are discussing. In fact, we are in advanced talks, and we've been doing the entire spin-off. So we've been active in this space already, and they've got like enterprise grade security. They're working with good customers like Aramco, etc. So, and they've been very active in this space, whereby vulnerability assessment and teaming up to prevent the evaluation and application protection, all those things they were able to solve. Am I still there, right? I think it got
Yeah,
stopped.
Rohit, we all are hearing you.
Yeah,
it's
okay.
good.
Yeah. So that is our one of the companies. Another company we did one in infrastructure AI in the US, and that was more related to Apache Iceberg, like creating so more AI SaaS enterprise. But Shield AI is one of them, which is already solving that problem.
Perfect. So Rohit, it means there's interesting investment going in that particular space. I believe that shows the right signal that it has been taken very seriously. So Neelesh, having said that, what are the new blind spots you have seen in recent time, which we need to first of all uncover, as well as we need to protect our potential customers, and what kind of graduation we can see in that space, which you see that can add a lot of value, and what are the shift left practices you propose to the industry?
Sure. It has been a wonderful insight about human behavior, especially from Elliot. To answer you, basically, I'll start with the situation exactly where we are as of now. Now, the decision makers always think that cybersecurity, or that matter AI security, is something which we'll discuss when we cross the bridge. But unfortunately, in this case, we are already on the bridge. So it is very important for the decision makers and the key people to understand that this is the right time. This is the only right time to take care of cybersecurity. We can defend AI and defend with AI. So this is the scenario that we are currently in. We as an organization basically tend to believe that point products, typically selling or supporting clients or partners with point products, seems to be a less effective way of taking care of all these apprehensions and issues. Platformization can be a better way. to answer you, basically blind spots from human behavioral perspective, it is a very big blind spot that we are coming across, because as I said, we are already in the bridge, and we cannot wait for crossing the bridge to take action. The point is basically the attack surface area was very less when AI was not fully evolved, so to say, from end user engagement perspective. So that attack surface has increased manifold. Actually, everything is attack surface now. In the first session, we saw that the panelist gentleman asked that what AI modules are using in day-to-day life. Now it is very difficult to say we are not using any of them because it is prevalent now. So this is where we are. To take care of this situation, first of all, obviously, cultural shift is very important. It is to make sure that the C suit, the B suit, and the boardroom, everybody understands the importance of taking care of cybersecurity as well as the AI. Now, unfortunately, it has to go hand in hand. We cannot work in silos. The other aspect of my reply to you can be basically how you approach this. Now, while defending with AI and defending the AI, both are significant. We can basically we can say that we need to build regulations and compliance in the architecture itself, baked in the solution itself, so that we don't end up getting surprised at a later stage, or we don't end up using bolts on the machine at a later stage. Then securing the ecosystem is also very important. End-to-end architecture of the solution and the usage needs to be taken care of. This is where exactly we can add value, basically, right from understanding the use cases and defining the solutions and implementing them, and making sure that they are resilient from business continuity perspective as well as technically resilient. We need to have a look at whole 9 yards of the solution. Then only we can take care of this situation.
Thanks a lot, Nilesh. You have touched upon some of the good aspects, I must say. That it's a chaos story. We are always in chaos. And second aspect is, I think prevention is better than cure, right? Having said that, 2 cents from my side. There's always pre and post. So in good old days, we always have a pre and post. So right now, couple of tools which I personally use is strikes in the pre and the mirror securities in the post. Although everything falls into the big segment of responsible AI. And I would say the name has changed, but the work is same. And there are a lot of things popping up in this particular space. Keep eye on that, and I believe you can be prevalent. Now I'm moving to another idea, because we are talking a lot about Gen AI. Right? The focus is not only Gen AI, the emerging tech also, like quantums of the world, like confidential computing, chip manufacturing. How you see that has been protected traditionally by putting a lot of policies at one place, but because now the thinking machine is there, or I would say we are processing the knowledge, as Mr. Ashok said in the previous, I can say, discussion. Irshad, how you see this particular part in different domains and the different vertical of technology enablement? And let's start with the KDE, the famous KDE of quantum, or any other thought you have in that particular space, the deep tech space.
Absolutely. I think it's a very relevant point, and especially in cybersecurity as well. And what people are doing is, especially, I mean, including EY, major organizations, tech companies. The only thing is that they are preparing for in a future scenario where there is a high possibility that some of the existing algorithms can be decrypted using quantum. I think it's what we talk about quantum safe algorithms, or so that's a scenario where a lot of our organization are preparing for. So with that in mind, including a lot of government entities as well in India, I mean, there is a specific investments going in different spaces in that particular space, and there are very niche startups who are actually in India focusing on quantum safe cryptography, or and quantum safe communications, especially in the defense sector probably. So there are a lot of niche solutions evolving in that particular space. especially from a futuristic scenario perspective. But an important element is there is a lot of especially one of the key threats that's evolving is there are countries and organizations typically they are storing a lot of encrypted data right now. Some of them are available in public, which possibly may see value in the future. I think see that is the fundamental premise in which probably in another few years still talk about capacities qubits that's available in India. Cumulative India, it's still the capacity is very low. I think possibly few qubits only, but I think globally, I think some of the large countries like US, China, they got a fair amount of advancements. But even within that capacity, people are looking at as a extremely futuristic way in which they evolve. But if you look at in a nutshell, in a summary, especially the post-quantum cryptography is the core area that is very relevant, especially in the cybersecurity space.
Yeah, you have touched upon very good topic, I must say. It's very near to me also. Traditionally, we were on the prime number factorization for cryptography. But Elliot, do you see any cool stuff which industry is investing in the space of quantum cryptography? Because what I heard, the most impactful is going to be financial institutions, right? Because everything is being encrypted, leveraging the traditional keys. And where the KQD is coming in, it's going to change the landscape. And a couple of friends of mine already working on that with 1,000 people of team, right? They are the banks in America who are already quantum ready. So it's very interesting story you have, Elliot, where you as a team are investing or any good stuff which is coming out of the industry.
Look, cryptography has been around for over 50 years as a technology. And I do think there's a sector agnostic investor. The risk that a crypto-based, I'm talking more in today's world, a crypto-based founder faces is this automatic putting the side of the court or the corner of the ring that they're part of the ICO buzz that once was in 2015, 2016. And that's unfortunate because they're probably not. They're probably using cryptography technology and also blockchain technology and similar for really practical use cases. But at the end of the day, from a venture standpoint, whether it's a crypto-based solution or otherwise, at least from a fundamentalist standpoint, the startup, regardless of what sector they're in, solving using crypto technologies and solutions, needs to be mindful of what venture demands, which is exponential outlier returns, 100x returns with the potential to exit and liquidate tangibly at $1 billion valuation or more. And wherever your audience are dialing in from all around the world, there are higher and lower chances of that happening based upon liquidity, ecosystem maturity, availability and abundance and risk appetite of investors, and so on. And so I do think that regardless of whether your team has 1,000 people, one person, whether you're building using, you're solving using blockchain technology, or you're solving using bricks and mortar, if you are seeking venture funding, you need to understand the game that you're seeking to get into. And the demands of the game are such that you've got to be able to return 100x or more, or have a clear road to at least potentially returning 100x, because 70+% of funds don't return anything. So I know I'm not directly answering your question, Vishal, but I'm trying to add context here it's like almost it doesn't matter about the technology that is being discussed, because the technology will evolve from today till next quarter, till next year, and so on. What matters is that from a venture standpoint, the founders are understanding the terms and demands associated to taking on venture capital should they seek to do so?
So thanks a lot, Elliot. It's one of the perspective I would want to know. Rohit, just a quick question from my side around what are typical parameters you look into a software or I can say entrepreneur who is coming for funding to you, and what is the tick in the box versus what actually you audit in terms of in case if somebody is building AI product, how ethical and other stuff is being baked in. So traditionally, we used to have this ISO and all the good stuff, but nowadays also there are some standard certification. But how, as in, because it's not about money, it's about name also, and you've been associated with these organizations. If they go under, your name go under. So, what are the typical practices you do, Rohit, from your side before taking the conscious?
Yeah, I believe this is question asked by me by everyone in the VC space, and so in Bangalore, if you ask me, in a jurisdiction of 3-4 kilometers, you will find thousands of companies building enterprise SaaS AI companies for the globe. This is the hub for building SaaS AI companies, and everybody's. There was a YC startup school day before yesterday. Some 3,000 founders came. Uh, the real question or challenge in this competing world, and especially the AI SaaS part, we have seen in our portfolios after a point of time, uh, the market becomes stagnant in a domestic market. If you are building AI SaaS, you have to build for the globe, and we can't beat that fact. But still, the biggest market is US for that. So the second market could be Europe and of course Middle East and MENA. But every other founder which is building is building for the US enterprise selling the globe. So in fact, we have stopped looking at India AI SaaS opportunities. We are telling them that if you're building for the globe, then we'll invest because I've got some very good exits in the past, which were India AI SaaS companies, and they pivoted 5 times. They pivoted. They failed multiple times. The real challenge is product market fit and the accessibility to enterprise customers. Uh, your cost to run these AI SaaS companies is increasing day by day. The AWS credits go vanish in few months, and what happens after that? These companies are burning, and when they burn, they need a lot of growth capital. They need access to enterprise customers. In fact, GTM is something they're not much aware of. So there were a lot of these companies who actually started building from SF, Silicon Valley. And now they created, see, Bangalore was always started as a backend hub. So we've been always telling the companies now that if you are building for the global markets, if you have a right product market fit, and you think your product can scale to a multifold X, and show us some customers, some proof of traction, some retention of the users. That is where the AI products are getting invested. Okay. Now, India has built its Servam AI, but if you still see it closely, it is not still monetizing. Not people are ready to buy for it, right? Still, people depend upon it. Cloud has completely changed the market. If you see, Cloud is disruptive. Cloud is already taken over so many vertical AI companies, and it is able to. I was reading a news today. Claude can build your startup now. Can you imagine? Within a few minutes, Claude can build your entire thesis for the startup. So, given the situation and the challenges, now interest is going towards AI infrastructure, especially from VC lens. If you are building in semiconductor, if you are building in, because people and the countries are pushing for sovereign build technologies, those who have foundational tech, that is where people are pouring money. Even though I would say AI SaaS is the topmost funded sector still, I would say 90% of investments are still going in AI SaaS, but all of them are building for the globe. So if you have global opportunities, if you have a person in the US sitting for you, acting as a salesperson, or you have a co-founder there and one here, then that is the opportunity which can be looked at. That is one parameter. Second, I said is product market fit for sure, and then some proof of concept interaction. I believe gone are the days when product stage companies or MVP stage companies are able to raise early. It used to be the fact that people were investing in those companies. Either you're a serial entrepreneur or who have sold a company, or you are from Ivy League. Then only you are able to stage at idea stage, product stage company. Otherwise, you have to prove a lot to raise the funding. It has become challenging day by day, especially in AI SaaS.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Rohit. You have touched upon some serious vectors. If anybody who's looking for investment, these are the top point, I must say. So, Nilesh, to you, there is an old saying: if you can measure it, you can improve it. Having said, in the space of chips, in the space of edge compute, what are the typical, I can say, indicators as an cybersecurity expert you will be looking for in the space of quantum, in the space of shadow, or in the space of confidential computing, which help you to identify the problem before it occurs in the space of cybersecurity threats. So, have you faced any challenge, or you worked on any theory which help people to understand who are listening that these are the pointers if they start collecting or if they start monitoring can help them to do early detection of these threats?
Yeah, this is a very interesting area of work that we are currently engaged with. PQC basically, as we said, people are still in that mindset wherein they think that we have a lot of time. And as Irshad said, the response times have decreased from 5 months or 6 months to 2 hours and 1 hour and 30 minutes because of the AI double-edged sword, so to say. Uh, to answer your question, basically, Quantum Gate, for example, one of the solutions that we are currently engaged with. Uh, these initiatives are specific pointers that we basically look for. Is again, it comes to human. Is the organization ready to look at it as a serious area where a lot of attention has to be given, not only technically but also financially in terms of budgets. So what we are basically trying to ascertain from the customer's point of view is regulations, uh, reg- uh, regional regulations and specific industries or domains. Are they following? Are they ready for the churn that is expected? And if they are not following, how do we make sure that they are complied with all those federal compliance structures and frameworks? Because then only if our frameworks and architectures are built together, as you said, baked in, then only I think we'll be ready for this. Especially to answer your question, there is a gray area that we must accept. As Donald Rumsfeld used to say, there are known knowns, known unknowns, unknown knowns, and unknown unknowns. AI is in the stage wherein there are a lot of known knowns and known unknowns, especially unknown unknowns. So, as a partner, what we are basically trying to understand from customers' point of view is how do they make sure that their business is resilient in terms of not only technical disturbances but also regional disturbances or global disturbances, and to make sure that AI not only helps in building these solutions. How do we make sure that AI itself is secured so that all these aspects of business continuity can be taken care of? To answer your question, there is no specific pointer that I would like to share, but these are the specific pain points or the aspirations of the organizations that we tend to take into consideration before we work with them on specific agendas.
Perfect, perfect. Thanks a lot, Nilesh. To be honest, I want to ask two questions, but the time is very short. If we can take one minute on the answering next two questions, I think we will be able to cover the 360. Now, let me jump, from people, tech, process towards the innovation. I'm taking just other way around. So, Elliot, quickly, what are the typical problems you have seen in the organization in terms of talent? having this deadly mix of AI, security, and all the good stuff. So, and how to actually foster this kind of capability. Just 2-3 lines, then we'll move to Irshadh, Rohit, and
I'll keep it short. Essentially, the hire fast, fire faster principle applies more than ever before. The ability to assess potential employees or teammates' AI competence and maturity and fluency can be done before you even interview. So make sure that AI fluency and prowess is an increasingly important part of one's skill set, regardless of his or her domain, from security and receptionist and admin staff all the way through to top management, because that puts at least to a degree, I'd like to say AI first, but at least an AI priority focus on process and efficiencies and so on. That would be my 2 cents there.
Thanks a lot, Elliot. Irshad, what's your thought on that?
As Elliot mentioned, what is the expectation? I think that's what the enterprises are doing, including organizations like us. There's a lot of emphasis, on AI enablement across the board, all the way from senior executives like partners like us to the enablers at the junior level, and that means especially one is to enable ourselves individually as the way how better we do the role, and at the same time, how do we help clients as well? So both ways, there is a significant emphasis of enablement of an existing team members who probably may not be, proficient in AI, but at the same time, make them very comfortable both as a for its personal use and as well as an enabler as well. So, and that's cutting across the board. There's a lot of training, a lot of certifications being enabled to make this really happen.
Thank you, Irshad. Neelesh, what's your thought on that?
Yeah, again, this is a major pain point for partners like us, skilled resources. I think as an approach, what we can do basically is maybe, as you know, there are dearth of resources. There are no sufficient resources that we need in this area of cybersecurity as well as AI. So whatever we have presently, we can groom them, reskill them, unskill them if necessary, as and when required. And then obviously the next, from the outsider perspective, we may not get the ready-made resources, but we can always look at pedigree. We can take the care of those resources from pedigree to potential to performance, and then we can accordingly take it up. Unfortunately, what I'm observing is the low entry threshold for the negative actors is very low now. Ransomware as a service, and anybody and everybody can get into negative side of the cybersecurity. But at the same time, we need to make sure that the positive side, the people who are supposed to help us defend against all these malicious actors are also well trained and ready for the coming winter, so to say.
Perfect. Thanks a lot. Rohit, what's your thought on that? How to capture this kind of talent?
In fact, in our fund also, in order to capture the talent, we had to offer a carry, because if you don't give this kind of incentive to them, every 6 months people are coming and going because there's so many opportunities. Same is with the talent in the companies. If they're not given the incentive or the equal pay or these days ESOPs, but again ESOPs has been misused and people are. Uh, uh, so I believe giving them incentives, keeping them encouraged, as well as a proper policy and decision making, then showing them the vision of the founder, because startup journey is not that easy. So there are a lot of ups and downs, but if the founders keep them as a family and take the opinion with the employees, I've seen companies making good fortunes and raising bigger rounds, keeping the right talent and the same talent for almost 5-10 years. If you want to retain them, you need to give them an intensive incentivize them. Otherwise, the rate of attrition has increased. This era is, in fact, if you see the statement of the CXOs, like we are the last of the CXOs in the era, because people are not because they're living in a very few period, and it has already started happening. In fact, today I read the new CTO of OpenAI has resigned And after 3 years of working in OpenAI, is moving back to India to take care of his parents. So you never know. You have to keep them engaged. That is something needs to be done.
Perfect. Thanks a lot. I think we have touched both on the professional and the personal aspect. With permission from Hemant, if I can get 1 more or 2 more minutes, I'll do a round again. 2 cents from my side, typically, I stopped seeing them as AI engineers, cybersecurity, and others. I call them business engineers or the product engineers. And the second thing which I see is time to accept that we need to hire agents. So both somehow we need to start juggling around. Good 20% of agent hiring is the norm, future norm, probably not 26 but 27. We're gonna hit. Okay, the last question round robin is before going ahead, Hemant, do I have 1 more minute? Okay, thanks a lot. You are so kind. Elliot, and then please pass it on.
Yeah.
One piece of advice you want to give in today's era. Please keep it short, everyone. One piece of advice.
Despite the doom and gloom that AI will or won't take our jobs, storytelling in all industries, from admin to sales and beyond, remains the most important and critical skill that anyone in a human-to-human related business effort can hone in on and level up.
Pretty strong words, Elliot. Thanks a lot. Irshadh?
Yeah, I think reinforces what Elliot said. I think humans are going to survive. It's not going to be a doomsday. Definitely there is significantly a lot of value. Even with AI, human beings are going to help, or other educated analyst or senior executive is going to help out our clients.
Thanks a lot, Irshadh. Rohit, what's your thought? One piece of advice.
I believe entrepreneurship is not easy and it's a lonely journey. So founders needs to understand that fact that please have a social life while having building something, because and even mental wellness. There should be someone who should talk about mental wellness, and of course, as Irshad and Elliot spoke about, like of course, AI will never take over the human. Human will always surface. We'll need to upgrade ourselves, and in fact, our team as well, to adapt to changing technologies, and world is changing so fast. So we need to adapt to the upcoming technologies.
Appreciate it, Rohit, and you have touched upon very important point. Have a life. Neelesh, to you.
Yeah, just to summarize, maybe as you rightly said, we'll to hire agents. We just need to make sure that they are not Manchurian agents. And my 2 cents are this is a journey, and there's no full stop anywhere. It is between all of us to work together so that the journey can be endless and we are on the right track.
Amazing, Neelesh. For me, just a pointer. It's just another phase of industry. Pick up the skills, gather your courage, and do the impossible. Foster the imposter syndrome and conquer it. So over to you, Hemant. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Elliot, Neelesh, Irshadh, and Rohit for being part of this panel. Really appreciate your insights. Over to you, Hemant.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. Amazing conversation.